Hey guys, and welcome back to Brutal Honesty with your girl Kay Renee. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome back to Kay the Bookworm. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. So today I have a very special guest because she is from my hometown, 843. She is right up the street from me, honestly. I live in Somerville. I have Miss Mel Dau here with me today, and I'm so excited. I found her when I believe either I just got signed or I was getting signed to my company, Reign of Lit. And I noticed that she was from Charleston, and I was like, oh my gosh, let me go read. So the first book I ordered books from you, which was Spectrum,
Right.
and I got the wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
So I read the Love Spectrum first, loved everything about this book.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing and gorgeous. And then I wanted to read the wrap up, but I got confused. So I remember DMing you and asking you,
Right.
if the wrap up was a continuation of a book. You told me yes. And then that's when I found Kai and Pie book, love story. And then I read that one, the second one, the spinoff with Terrell and his wife, which I totally can't remember her name.
Okay.
Yes. And then I read Justin Drills. And then I read Summer Howe. And then I just got done reading the one with Liam.
Right. Love's Touchdown.
Yes. And then that's how I kind of figured with this. I was like, I saw Callisto. I was like, wait a minute. What the? Oh, okay.
It all connects.
Yeah, it all connects. So then I also read Love Quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Really cute. And just got done reading your newest book. Congratulations, Shameless Love.
Thank you.
So first of all, I just want to say I honestly love the Charleston ones the most because I don't have family in Mount Pleasant, but I do have family in Mount Corner, and it definitely reminded me of the lingo. I felt like I felt home reading it. So my first question is, how and when did you get started? And my second one is, why did you want to write Kai and Pie story?
So ironically, today is the anniversary of when I signed my first contract with Queens of Lit. Queens of Lit Presents. I realized that it came up on my memories on Facebook. So how I got started was Zatasha, who's over Bookies, asked me. At the time she was doing like a short story contest, and I had, we knew each other because we were book plugs. So I had read a lot, so authors knew me. So I was like, okay, I'll write a short story for the contest, whatever. So I wrote the first 2 chapters of Kai and Pie. So she called me. She was like, I'm not gonna put this in the contest. I'm like, why you? I was like, wait a minute, I know. I'm thinking like it's bad. Like, I know I can write a little bit. She was like, no, I want you to write a book. I was like, I'm not writing no book. I'm an HR professional. I'm gonna write for literature. She was like, Tice, this is good. I was like, no. But what she didn't realize was I was going through a deep depression. My father had passed. I was not handling it well at all. So I had already had a suicide plan. So I was like, bro, I don't plan to be here by the end of the week. So there's no need for me to be trying to write a book. So she kind of left me alone. So then the next day, Saja J reached out to me and she said, Tice, I just try writing 5 chapters and tell me how you feel. So because she was my fave, I was like, okay, out of deference to her, I said, I'll try it. I wrote those 5 chapters in maybe like 3-4 hours. And I realized, it dawned on me that I can immortalize my father on pages. So now all of the wisdom that he's put into me, I can put in through different characters in my books and do this. And it literally saved my life. So my first year, I was pumping out books. So that's how Kair and Pie came about. And probably my first 3 books were very detrimental in my life because I was trying to save my life. So I kept writing and writing and writing. So my first year, I was writing extremely heavy. And then, through time, I take and a lot of times I wasn't taking meds like I was supposed to. I wasn't in therapy, but now I'm actually doing what I need to do for my mental health. So it's better. But when I first started, I was writing and outputting as many books as I was, unbeknownst to people. They thought, oh, she's just a bomb. She's just doing it. No, every time you see me put a book out, it's because I more than likely am trying to not kill myself. And that was how it was in the beginning. So that's how I started. Like, and I always tell Zatasha, like, you saved my life. Like, God works in mysterious ways. And I never knew, before I started writing, I had absolutely no idea what my purpose was. I was walking around here just purposeless, like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do when I grow up, like, and then I started writing and it was like, aha, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to use your words in some way to impact people. So that's why I always tell people I write informational dramas, because I want to make an impact in my book. I want to entertain you, but I want you to come from the reading a book of mine, learning something that you didn't know before, or thinking about something like, maybe you might be depressed and you thinking, well, maybe I can go see someone. Maybe I should talk to someone about what happened in my past. So that's what I want to invoke thought when I read a book.
Wow, that was deep. I've also been through suicidal thoughts myself. Actually, like last June sometime, going through not a break, you could say a breakup, but somebody I was really attached to very closely. And the way he did me was just wrong. And then have his now baby mama basically talk all the shit she talked to me at the time. It was just like at the point where I'm just like, what the fuck did I do to you? Type thing.
Right.
And it's just like, what did I do to deserve this? And he didn't sincerely apologize. It was like an apology for him and not simply for me. So
right.
It was just like, what the fuck? So yeah, I've been there, definitely there with suicidal thoughts. But
right.
Wow. One thing I can say about you is that when I do read your work, I feel pain. Like Justice Rose, for example, in the description of how Rose was going through the situation with her being trapped with her quote unquote bitch ass friend father, and then also him pimping her out and having the baby syndrome. I had to start reading it for like a whole day because I was just
and it was a lot, and I found my voice in that book. And that was the first book where because Kyra and Pie, I wrote it in the voice of what I thought the reader wanted. Because I had just came off of reading Latoya Nicole and Miss Lady P and all these amazing other authors. So I was like, I'm gonna write like they write because that's what everybody loves. But then when I got to Justice Rose, I was like, no, that's not how I want to write. So that book, to be honest with you, some of those scenes in that book, I wrote in my therapist's office.
Oh, wow.
Because some of those scenes were real scenes in my life. So she was like, are you sure you want to put these things out there? Even though it's fiction, a lot of times our reality, fiction is a version of reality sometimes. Yeah. So she's like, this could be detrimental to your, these things could be detrimental to you as well as someone else. And I worried about it. I was like, that beginning scene, that prologue was hard for me to write. And I don't think I've written anything like that again, because I realized it was hard for me to write it. So I can imagine somebody reading it. Yeah. So I was like, I don't think I'll be doing that again in that manner. Like even with River of Love, I skimmed over, I didn't write I try not to write any type of molestation scenes or whatever. I might skim over it and say it happened, but to go in detail like I did with Justice Rose, I was like, that was a learning point for me.
I did read River of Love. The only one I think I haven't read by you I started was Terrell and Tay's daughter story.
Okay, Tana's Heart.
I started and I'm not gonna lie, it was just too much.
Yeah, that story was another heavy one, and I wanted to talk about domestic violence in youth, because it's skipped over so much. We have so many college students that are brutally, in domestic violence situations. So I prayed on that one too, and that's why I put trigger warnings. Yeah. Like, hey, this book, that book, has a lot to do with, that. So it was a lot, and I even in my trigger warning, I said, hey, it has domestic violence and mentions of miscarriage. So if that's, if you can't read it, I understand and love. I don't fault anybody at all.
And I was like, ooh, yeah, bring it a little bit. Not physically abusive, but definitely the emotional, mental. And I was just like, I can't. I can't do it.
And, you know, sometimes that's worse than the physical.
Yes.
I've been in a ironically, when I wrote Hell of a Blessing, that story, at the time that I wrote Hell of a Blessing, I was in a domestic abusive relationship. And the main character of Hell of a Blessing was my abuser. So he didn't want me to write. And he, like, when I was with him, I think I was with him for a year. I might have only put out 2 or 3 books the whole time I was with him. Because he didn't want me to write. He felt like it was taking me away from him, all this other stuff. So I came up with this idea. I said, hey, I got a book idea and I want to make you the main character. Because he's a narcissist. He was like, hell yeah. So he was down with it. So I made him the main character, the character visual, everything. And I found it funny that, and now if you get the book now, I have a forward in the front where I say, I was in such a dark place that I made my abuser the protagonist in a storyline about a person in a domestic violence situation. So in Hell of a Blessing, Broski saves Blessing from her abuser when I was in a house with that person having a broken arm. You know, just if he did whatever happened, like if he got drunk there, I never knew what was going to happen. Same thing with, you know, just crazy stuff. So when we finally broke up, you know, everything was good when we finally broke up. I finally got out with my life because I just knew I didn't want to be a hashtag. I didn't want to be somebody, and at the time my sorority was going really hard about domestic violence. And I was like, I don't want to have my sorority having a seminar in remembrance of me about domestic violence. So I was like, I gotta go. Like the last day that I broke up with him, I had a concussion, a dislocated shoulder, 2 fractured ribs. And I woke up, it happened. We went to sleep. I'm in pain. I can't sleep. Got up in the morning, act like everything was normal, getting ready for work. He's bopping around the house. I love you. I love you. I do the things I do because I love you. And I'm just so jealous. I don't want to be. I'm like, okay. Dropped him off for work. And I immediately went to the emergency room. And then after I went to the emergency room, I came home, I packed him up, and I took his stuff to his job, dropped it off. Then I went to the magistrate and got a restraining order. I did all of that in 8 hours. Because I was like, he's going to kill me. And that's what the people at the hospital said. They said, he's going to kill you. This is your second time here. The first time you came in with a broken arm. And that was in May. He broke my arm that May. And in November, I was back with all those other injuries. They were like, he's going to kill you. So I was like, I have to go. Like, I can't do this. I have a daughter. I'm sitting here writing books about domestic violence, and I'm sitting here looking stupid in a domestic violence situation. So, and I consider myself a strong woman. So it's weird when people be like, oh, I would never let man, ain't no nigga gonna hit me. You never know till you in that situation, because I used to say the same thing. Oh, I'm killed. Yeah. Okay. It's not like I was taking it lying down. Oh, I'm from Charleston. Oh yeah, we've been bamming. Facts. But I'm not, we've been bamming, but at the same time, I'm not a man. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So like, I stopped getting my nails done. Just so if we get into it, I can truly break them. Yeah. Yeah. So like because he used to bend my nails back. Ooh. So I had totally stopped getting my nails done for almost 6 months when we were in the relationship. And then I didn't get them done again until almost a year after we were out of the relationship, just in case I had to fight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh yeah, it wasn't like I was just like, oh, he hit me. I'm okay, stop. No, you want to, okay, let's go. Yeah. But that's toxic. Yeah. You know, like I shouldn't have to feel like come home and be like, all right, we might fight. You don't have to have toxicity in your house of peace. Say it again? You shouldn't have toxicity in your house of peace. Right. It's supposed to be your sanctuary. Somewhere you can come and just be like, I'm home. I want to lay down. I want to chill out. Like when you feel like you have to put cameras in your home just in case something happens so you can have some kind of evidence, that's not a mindset you need to be in. Yeah. Your story, I don't know if you probably got this or not, but your story legit reminds me of Moth to a Flame by Ashley Antoinette. Mm-hmm. The main character in that was in an abusive relationship as well.
but unfortunately she passed away trying to get out of the situation.
Right.
And it was her, honestly, the person that was trying to save her accidentally killed her because she was driving the abuser's car.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that story really hurt me too, because just like she was young, like he manipulated her while she was like maybe like 18.
Yeah, I
She,
remember that book.
yeah, got her daddy, you know what I'm saying? So all that stuff. And then now I'm reading Butterfly, and her sister Morgan is kind of going through the same things. Not well, you could say it's the same thing because like without, the girl tried to kill herself technically. And it just like, it's crazy. So in my
Mm-hmm.
book that I wrote, I do have a scene where the main character Michelle goes through kind of like a trauma like that,
Mm-hmm.
but her mother's an alcoholic and her dad died when
Mm-hmm.
she was young, and her mother basically copes with alcoholism to where she gets another dude who is basically an alcoholic and tries to rape Michelle and beats the mother up to the point where the mother says enough. Michelle shoots him, kills him by accident, didn't mean to, but because she killed her mother's man, she kicked her out. So she's in therapy as well. So I feel as if when I read your books, I realized that you are definitely heavy on mental health.
I am.
And that's
I
one
am.
thing I feel as if, as Black people, especially Black women, but just Black people in general, we don't do that enough. We don't feel as if Black mental health is a place to go. Like psychiatrists don't exist.
Right. And what's funny is, as Black women, we wear the superwoman cape.
Mm-hmm.
We can do I am every woman type of situation. Like I can do it all. And I used to blog, and I remember blogging, I'm not every woman. And that's okay. Like there are certain things I have to put boundaries on. And going to therapy is okay. Having my psychiatrist is African. And my therapist, I just started with a new therapist, and she's Black. And that I don't think I could live my life without going through therapy, because and sometimes you don't even realize the traumas you have until you go to therapy. You could be like, oh, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden you go to therapy and you like, damn, I never realized I had abandonment issues. Because it's those little things that you don't think about that you might even think are normal. And it's like, baby, that's not normal. So, and it's just, like I remember in college, I had a best friend. And we used to be best friends, like we were together freaking frat, to the point where you would think that she was my man. Mm-hmm. Like she would get mad. Like, so I met her, she was my best friend, then she introduced me to a third girl. So we were always together. She got mad if I would spend time with this other girl and she's not around. Yeah. And to the point where she told me she wished she never introduced me to her. Now, me and the other girl, her name is Natasha too, we're still best friends. But she cut it off with me because she was like, no, I don't want to, my best friend is my best friend. Now, I know we say that jokingly, but she was like, to the point where people thought that my friends would be like, she act like she fucking you. What is up with that? But then in hindsight, and knowing her family dynamic, it dawned on me like she has abandonment issues. Yeah. Because I know her backstory, but at the time I'm younger. I don't know. I got my own problem. I'm not worried about her. But now that I've been through therapy and stuff like that, I was like, that's probably what that was. And I just neither of us knew how to handle that. Right. Handle that. So, I mean, me too. Like even though one of my readers said she could tell by my books that I have abandonment issues. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I do, especially with, like my dad has always been in my life, but he left our home when I was 13, but he was always around. So it wasn't like he was a deadbeat dad or anything. He was always there, but I still have that. He wasn't physically in the home. So I had that abandonment from that. And then with him dying and then my mom dying in 2019, I'm still very much hurt by that. I'm just getting to a point where I can pray past 2 minutes and not get mad at God and be like, you took something from me, so I was mad. And even with my mom, like that came from left field. And my mom was like one of these prayer warriors, saved, sanctified, filled with every piece of the Holy Ghost. And I was like, why you take my mom and he tried to give me no warning? Like, what? So I'm still mad about that. Like that part, with my dad, I'm kind of working it out. But with my mom, I'm still like, I'm pissed. Like, I still got patent boxes I haven't opened from her. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm 39 and both of my parents are gone. Yeah. Where did they do that at? Like, and I'm not close, unfortunately, I'm not close with any of my extended family. His family did us dirty. Her family I never was really close with. So I was like, I guess it's just me and my brothers now. But my dad always told me, that's all you got in the end. Like, that extended family shit is cute. But he was like, you gotta stick to that inner circle. And I'm a country girl, so I was like, yeah, it's just me and my brothers. Like, my brothers there's a 5-year gap in between us. Mm-hmm. So they doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. And my dad was like, we raised you in a certain way. Y'all are not dependent. We weren't dependent on our parents, even though I'm spoiled. I was very spoiled. You know, like, I tell people, I was like, no, you'll never understand. That the first time my car broke down after my daddy died, I was sitting on the side of the road having a full-on panic attack. Like, what do I do? I called my store. I was like, girl, my car broke down. What am I supposed to do? She was like, call a mechanic. I was like, I usually call my daddy. I don't know no mechanics. She was like, calm down. She sent her husband out there. And everything, I was crying. I was like, I don't know what to do. It was so bad. And then the car that I had when my dad died was the last thing he gave me. Like, he bought all my cars. Oh, wow. So my Honda that I have now is the first car I've ever bought by myself, because he bought all my cars. Yeah. So when I'm at the dealership, I took one of my stores and I didn't want to trade the car in. And first of all, the car wasn't worth nothing. It was an 06 Chevy Impala. The finance manager was like, this car is probably worth like $500. But my frat who sold it to me was like, let's give her the max amount for a junk car, which is $1,500. I'm sitting there like, I don't want to trade it in. And my store was like, Tights, really? So I had to call my brother. My brother was like, Tights, Dad's not in the car. He's like, not in the car. But this is the car he bought. He's like, Tights, let it go. Let it go. Mm-hmm. So I bought it and I was like, but oh my God, like, I was spoiled. But now he took the time before he died to teach me certain things. In the months before he died, to like, he put me in a budgeting class. Because he was like, he said, look, girl, as geeky as the day is born, you know, look, Lauren. When I die, you ain't gonna have no safety net, so I ain't know what to say. If you don't pay your rent, you just ain't gonna have no place to stay, because you can't come stay with your mom. Really, Dad? That's exactly what he said to me. Yeah, I was like, well, I wouldn't come stay with my mom. I mean, I know you ain't gonna stay with your mom because she wants you to stay with her. I want you to stay with her, and I know you ain't want to stay with her. All right, Melvin. So he paid and put me in a budgeting class. So, and I thank him every day for that, because now I know how to budget. I know how to do what I'm supposed to do. I know how to, make sure I have, he's like, whatever you like to do, just put it on a budget line. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. I was talking to some dude the other day. I was like, bro, if you like to smoke weed, that's cool. Just put a budget line on there. He was like, a budget line for weed? I said, just put fun time. Like, he was like, yo, you're crazy. I'm like, I'm serious. He was like, so, but yeah, I mean, my characters come from people I know, people I've been around, college friends, high school friends, just people.
I see that also that you are very, 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 very engaged with your sorority, which is Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I'm a Sigma Gamma Rho myself. Mm-hmm. So I love y'all. Just joke the story.
I am. I have. I'm actually a state officer. I'm a state parliamentarian. Okay. So I am very engaged in my sorority. Y'all got that cupcakes. And something coming up soon. I just saw a flyer for it, and we have one too. And let me tell you. Let me say something. When y'all did y'all rebranding, I said, God damn them roads. I said, Lord, I don't even know if I want to say this, but if I wasn't already a Z, they would have got my ass on that damn rebranding. That thing was so sharp. I said,
we got our Centennial coming next year, and from what I saw on Twitter, they said Centennial's already sold out. So I'm like,
look, I ain't even mad at y'all. I was like, them roads doing it. I said, y'all, we slept on them roads for years. But I said, when y'all did that rebrand, I called myself, I said, hey, you seen the Rose rebranding? She said, girl, I was about to call you. I said, yo, I'd be like, talking about them now, like, yo, they the shit, yo, like, they rebranding is real hot. I was real impressed. I was like, but we're visual people. Yeah. And if you don't know anything about a sorority, the visual is what's gonna bring you in first. Yeah. So I'm like, look, I'm Zeta down to the heart, bleed blue and white all day. But I was like, oh well. I really love that.
I love how you incorporated Zeta in all of your books.
Mm-hmm.
All your female characters are either, or basically are Zetas. All your male characters are either Sigma or Kappas. Love that. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk about Love Quarantine. And then after that, we can talk about the love spectrum. What made you want to write a book, a college book at that, about two polar opposites being stuck in a dorm at Benedict College? And if you got to know what Benedict College is a small HBCU in South Carolina, right across the street from Allen University. Because I went when I first started college. I went to Allen for a semester.
Okay.
Didn't like it because it was way too small for me. I transferred and went to school. But what made you want to write a story about that?
You know what? I wrote Quarantine Love in I think a week and a half. We had just got on lockdown. Like they just put us on like shelter in place. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I should write a book about COVID quarantine because it was hot at the time. So I just literally was like, what's the storyline behind this? What's the storyline behind this? And I was like, college. So I just literally I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of my book ideas come from dreams. So like I'll dream something and then I'll wake up, I'll be like, that's interesting. And I won't write it until I pretty much think about it. Yeah. And I don't outline. So when I write, all of that's coming off the top of the head. So like if I get I'll write, then I'll stop, go to sleep, thinking about it, and then the next scenes will come and I'll be like, that's it, I got it. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just start going. So outline, I tried to outline and it actually hindered me. So I was like, yeah, outline. Now what I do is I use like in Microsoft Word, I use comments. So like I might write some comments to the side about like when I do my characters, I'll put like whoever the character is, I'll put a comment and write everything about that character in the comments, like he's this age, this is how I want him to look, blah, blah, blah. But usually for me, I find my character visuals first. Ooh. And then I literally write my character to the character visual. So, and I guess that's just, I feel like I do that because that's probably one of my weaknesses, being descriptive on how somebody looks without a visual.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, whatever. I'm gonna just get a character visual and just look at them and just, okay, he's sexy, he's this, he's that. So, but I don't know, for Quarantine Love, it just came to me and I was like, and they were polar opposites outside of the gaming. But a lot of times it happens like that.
Yeah.
It like somebody you just don't even think you like would even talk to. And then that one little minute detail is what joins you, and then from there something grows. I think, and ironically, I think it's time. I might end up writing a short for them because I think it's time for an update for them.
It is also time for update with Calypso.
Yeah,
and Moon, because I have never been turned on by a guy that lives with autism. The way you can describe Calypso in Love Spectrum was just so. It was just. I can't even put it into words.
And you know what's funny is everyone loves that book. They're like, "Look, girl, you made autism sexy as hell."
Yes,
I was like, really? I was like, well, I know a couple of high functioning autistic people, and so one of my sources, her husband is high functioning. So that's where I got a lot of the inspiration from. I called her and I said, "Hey, I'm writing this book, and I need some insight on high functioning autism. Is it okay if I talk to you and your husband about just things in your relationship, things like that? I'm not going to put your stuff in the book, but I just want to." And if outside of, like with her husband, outside of small little things that you have to be very observant of, you wouldn't know any different.
Yeah.
he's very, particular about certain things. But I can't really even say that I would have called that autism if I didn't already know he had it. I would just think he don't like certain things. Like, I don't like my food to touch. Like, I'll go crazy if certain foods touch. I would not touch, like how people on Thanksgiving, that's my worst. I hate Thanksgiving. You will not. You like, if somebody invites me to their house for Thanksgiving, I bring my own plate. Like, I'm serious about my thing. Like, you will not put that collard green juice with that fried chicken. So I wanted to just show that these, high functioning autistic people, they're getting married. They are productive. They are having full on amazing careers. Yeah. So you can't just think that they're all just in some insane asylum or sitting on some short bus. That's not the reality of the situation.
I love how Moon was just like, when KJ told her that he was autistic, and she was just like, okay, Ann. Like it didn't bother her. That's the thing I can't say I loved about this book, was that they, like, even though KJ was very into himself, and after reading Love's Touchdown, I could see more of him, of why Macy said what she said when it did came to Moon, when they first met, because at the time in Love Touchdown, KJ was so to himself, and he was fine about where he was at. Like, he didn't he didn't want a relationship. When Moon came, and that's when he realized that she loved Harry Potter just as much as he did, and like Liam said, this is your age. Like, don't scare her off or don't self-sabotage because you got autism.
Right. And more so, she was like okay with it, but she did ask the questions, like, what does that mean for this relationship? And he was honest. I don't know. Like, I've never been in a relationship, so I don't know what that means for this relationship. And when I wrote it, I wanted people to see the growth. Like, even the scene when they're like in the cafeteria and she's like, babe, you can't wear sweats. And he's like, well, why not? And he's like, well, you got a big dick. And they're like, what? And he's like, what? Because in his mind, like, who thinks of that stuff? Like, what? Right. And for us, we're like, bro, you gotta put some compression shorts on. So, just little small things like that. And just him, even I made it a point in that book for him to always be like, I'm a grown ass man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with that was I'm very intentional sometimes, because I remember in the past, I would get some editors and they would say that I say certain things in my book repetitively. And I was like, but there's a point behind that. Like, especially once I find a theme of what my message is, I might say it under, like, for instance, shameless love. I must have said in that book, I'm never ashamed about what I do 1,000 times, because that was the point. Like, my dad always would tell me, never be ashamed of what you do. I don't care if you're doing the most trifling shit ever. If you shame about it, don't do it. You shouldn't be doing it. And I've lived my life like that. Like, whatever, I did it. I'm like, what you gonna do? Like, who gonna check me? And that's how I wrote, how I came into Shameless Love. Like, I have been reading I have been into one night stand books and pregnancy books. And so I was like, I'm gonna write a book like I like to read. And that's how Shameless Love came about. And I honestly, I don't come up with my book titles till the very end of my book. So I never know what I'm gonna name it until I get near the end, and I'm like, it just kind of drops on me. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but I love this book. This book touched my soul. Like, I just like,
yeah, they definitely have an update coming, because I'm planning to do, like I said, some subscriber boxes.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm planning to start doing subscriber boxes. I'm probably my plan as of right now is probably only do it quarterly. Okay. And that's because when I put the books that I'm going to put in the subscriber boxes are going to be books that aren't available anywhere else. So they're going to be brand new material that you only get if you're a subscriber. Okay, so it could be an update. It could be a brand new book. Yeah. And if I put it out for the public, it'd be like months later.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So that'd be the benefit of being a subscriber of the box, because you know that you're going to get a brand new release, paperback, signed, and nobody else will have it outside of my subscribers.
That makes sense.
So that's one thing that I said I'm going to do to set myself apart. And that I don't. It could be a full-time thing, so we'll see.
I'm excited. I know Ashley Antoinette just started that. I know she has her second boxes going on, and I love her, but that was just way too much money.
That $150.
Ooh, listen, I love you. I love
I
love you, Ashley. I got books. I got all your books, honey.
Let me tell you something.
That $150 though. I was like,
that will humble you. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and get her.
Yeah.
$150. I was like, why?
But granted, the stuff in the box was a lot.
Oh yeah. So when I saw what was in the box, okay. I said, all right, it's probably worth it. And like when I was doing my research on boxes, I was like, okay, I ain't gonna hit nobody over the head. And it's Ashley Antoinette, so she can do that.
She can do that, exactly. Because I remember like in her Facebook group, and when she did the second load of boxes, I think she did it that midnight, and I think she wrote like the next day saying that her website crashed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she can do that. She can do that because she's gonna have mass production. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like when I come out with my boxes, you know, I'm probably gonna stay around the price range of $50 to $67, no more than $70. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still gonna have, you know, you're gonna get this exclusive book, and then whatever else comes with the theme of that book. If I sell 40, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to like, you know, because look, God, if I sell 10 people got an exclusive book, and we just gonna keep it moving. And those 10 people will become 20, will become 30. I've always been real good about when my time is. And you know, and I see a lot of people doing the subscription boxes now, and they're cute. But the reality of it is when you think about as a businesswoman, you have to think about the input on the output that you're putting to do those subscription boxes. Like that stuff is not cheap to do all of that stuff. So you can't expect, and I had to tell myself this, like I do a lot of book sales, but you know, sometimes I do book sales, my books are dirt cheap. Like you can get that last book sale I had, you literally could get my whole catalog for $60. Whole entire catalog for $60. And I was like, and one person, she came on there and was like, but she said something about my shipping. I said, are you serious? The book is $6. And you tripping about $5 shipping?
Sis, my book is $15. My shipping is $5. So what? And then at the same time, when I got your stuff, I got a mask, I got a pen that I still use, I got I think I got like a bookmark, I got like a you know a personalized thank you card. So what are you tripping? Why are you upset?
Exactly. And then get this. If you buy any of my erotica sexy books, I send you a lipstick vibrator. But you tripping off of $5 shipping. And I'm like, and I always tell people, I don't give, I try to be very unique in the gifts that I get, like the freebies I give. If you spend more than $50 with me, you get a power bank, a Mel Dau power bank. So I'm not out here just cheap and giving out stuff. Not to say other authors are. I had pop sockets. I had all type of things. So my thing is like, as a businesswoman, I had to realize this year when I was doing my expenses for last year's taxes and stuff. Yeah, I sell myself short.
Yeah.
So a lot of these sales, they about to be like 48-hour sales. If you don't get it, whatever. And a lot of times it's just me being lazy. Like I just don't be changing the prices on the site because I'm like, well, I forgot, whatever. But and then so I just like I can't do it anymore. Like this book is $15. You want it, you want it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm now at a point in my penship that I can say I especially now that I'm trying to love and I'm perfecting my craft, I can say it's okay to have a book be $15.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've written a lot of books. Look, I know someone that wrote one, and it was okay. I mean, it was okay. She is now teaching people how to write books.
Okay.
You wrote one damn book. And I was so confused. I was like, I read the book. And I was like, why you? I said, you know what? I ain't gonna knock nobody hustle because if she got somebody to pay her $150, then they get what they get. Yeah. Like I said, I ain't even mad at your hustle. I said, I'm very surprised that you went out like that, but okay. Like I can teach people how to put an anthology together. That's not hard. But again, when I started re-releasing my books, I learned that self-publishing is the devil.
Yeah, it's that's one of the reasons why I signed to Reign of Lit, was because at the time I was going to do self-publish, and I did my research, and I was just like, yeah, this is not going to work.
Yeah, it's the devil. I tell people that I'd rather be signed. One, I have a career.
Yeah.
So, and people are like, hell, self-publishing, you pay your publisher to do certain things. I want to be able to focus on my writing, my career. With B Love, she gives us embellishments. She gives a lot of, writing, like so many embellishments. And then I don't have to worry about all the other stuff. If I find a cover, tell her this is the cover I want. She sends it off to editing. She does the copyright, pays for copyright. Boom, boom. That's what she get her piece of the royalties for.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. When I had to re-release my books, I was crying over some of them charges for editing, because good editing is not cheap.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And like I had a company edit 3 books at once, baby. When that girl sent me that $1,000 bill, I was like, breathe, bitch. Breathe, Jesus, breathe. But she's an amazing editor. Yeah. She was an amazing editor, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use you. I'm gonna use you, but Jesus, God, yeah. I was like, Lord Jesus. I was like, to the point where I'm like, Thais, you might have to get into self-editing on a couple of these books, because books that people weren't really tripping about the editing, we're gonna just work that out.
So my final question for you is kind of a question, kind of advice for me, but for other people I want to write. So my first book, I was happy that it came out. I was really happy because this is what I wanted to do. At the same time, I felt as if it wasn't up to par with other people. If that makes sense. Because me reading there's like Close to You is a YA. You could say like a YA Black love romance. So I know people my age probably read it because I know you, so I'm gonna read it. But at the same time, people were just like, I'm gonna support it and not read it. So my sales weren't as good as I thought, and I felt like a major ass failure. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I felt horrible about myself. I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm doing that, blah blah. But getting advice from New York's best-selling sales timer, Nick Stone, getting advice from another girl that I'm really close with, Portia Dion, who is an amazing erotic novelist, getting advice from Christina C. Jones.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. Getting advice from her and getting advice from other people as well. I realized that I am a perfectionist. I put a lot on myself when it comes to books. Oh, just it's stuff in general. So when things don't go what I thought it was going to go, I get upset. So my question to you is, somebody who is an experienced author to somebody who is now just coming in working on her second book. When it comes to book sales and trying to find your niche and trying to find your audience, what is the best advice you could give somebody like that?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. When I went into writing books, I didn't go in it for the book sales. So that makes it a little different for me. My why is different. Yeah. So I wanted to, now don't get me wrong, the money's nice. Yeah. But my why is different.
Yeah, that's the thing. My why wasn't for money sales. It was just like, I'm putting out good work in the fact that people are not receptive to it. Or
so it takes
that's
time.
That's the thing. It wasn't about the money. It's just the fact that I thought that I wrote this book, I'm supporting it, I'm promoting it. And I got some people telling me that it's good, it's a good book, but blah, 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 blah. And
so it honestly takes time. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of my books that have been successes from word of mouth. Like, people, one reader to another reader, bookies, different groups. Like somebody read your book and say, this is a good book, but I'm looking for some kind of book. Yeah. And you pop your book in there, somebody's gonna pick it up. And it takes time. Like I remember getting royalties that was like, now keep in mind, like royalties is somebody's getting some of this money too. Yeah. And my end of the money ain't even $300. So, but if I make $1, somebody bought a book. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's reading, and it's just, I'm a perfectionist too. And you have to kind of, it's hard to not be a perfectionist. Like when I wrote Summer's Howl, my paranormal, I think that's my worst written book. Everybody loves it. And I'm like, really? But I was going against, I read a lot of paranormals. Mm. I'm not a Jade Royal. Yeah. I'm not a Peach Johnson. Like, these women are amazing in that genre. And I'm like, baby, I can't do that. But for now, looking back, I'm like, well, maybe it was a decent book. So you just have to almost, it just takes time. That's the best way I can explain it. Like, you have to be patient and know that eventually, when it's your time, your buzz will come. And it can happen like that. And then, quite frankly, it can go away. Yeah. I've had, when I was under Queens of Lit Presents, I've had times where my royalty checks was thick. And then the next month, it dropped back down. Because some people will jump on you at one good time, and then the buzz will drop down. That's why you see some authors steady releasing. And, that's fine. And that's why I said, at this point, somebody asked me whether I would ever do writing full time, like quit my job. And I said, and I'm honest, I said, no, I'll never quit my job to write. I said, they were like, so even if you get like a New York bestseller? No. I said, the only way I would quit my job is if an Oprah, Calipari, or somebody said, I'm turning your book into a movie. Yeah. Then I'll consider quitting. I said, well, what if you get a New York bestseller and you got to go on tour? So there's this thing called leave.
PTO?
Yeah, you can take that. Like, I work in HR. Like, what are you talking about? I make good money. I'm good. Yeah. Like, I was like, I need my health insurance. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just but I still can produce enough to be as if I am a full-time writer. And quite frankly, look, I write, if I'm not working, I'm writing. Yeah. So it falls hand in hand. Like, when I'm off work, I'll be sitting at home and just watching TV, typing away, writing away. So, like, I'm better now, but I've written books in clubs. I wrote, I can't remember I think it was Trail and Tay. I wrote Trail and Tay sitting in the club, sitting in the VIP section on my phone, my note. They were like, what you doing writing a book? Are you serious? I don't see my husband in here. Like, I don't see no man I'm interested, so might as well write. Yeah. So, but when you're committed to your craft, so I say just stay committed, stay on your grind, and it will definitely come. And when it hits, you're gonna be like, that's it right there.
Yeah, I have like I'm writing a story right now where it's gonna be scenes from like my first official book, and then two other characters are kind of going to jump in. So like kind of like a 4 POV with like two couples type thing situation, and like the second main character's sister is going to be bisexual, which I'm bisexual too. But she's going to be more so like me, where she's just now coming out as bisexual. Okay. She doesn't know how to like control her feelings or try to talk to females. You have another female who is going to be a basketball player, and she's open, proud. She's going to be like the mayor's daughter, blah blah blah. So I wrote on my Twitter, and I was just like, I was like, how would people feel? Like, I was like, I want to write a book about bisexuality, but I want my main characters to be two black leads looking for love, women black leads looking for love. When I tell you, I had so many retweets, likes, quote tweets.
Yeah, because that's something that people are not doing.
When is this book coming out? When are you writing?
Yeah, that's something people are not doing.
Write this shit. And because of Joan R went out, because of Mia Johnson, You See Me in the Crown, and Joanna Perez decided to back between them, all three Black authors, all three, well, besides Nick, Geronda and Leah those are like their like first books out already getting like nominated. The Stars of Black in Between Them is my favorite book of 2020. But that really helped me out with being accepted of who I am. And I posted like a post on my Instagram story and had them in it, and all three of them retweeted it.
Right.
It's like, this is what, like, I want this book. Congratulations. When is this book coming out? Like, reputation matters. So it's the fact that even though this book is not coming as of right now, but the fact that people want to see or want to read about two bisexual women trying to find love.
Right. And so now that you have that buzz, you have to kind of follow that up.
Yeah.
So you have, whether it's start writing the book or write little teasers, little short scenes.
My goal is to incorporate them into the book I'm currently writing now. And then like kind of like towards the end, like at the end of the book, probably do like a little dinner scene of them eating, and then go from there and be like,
and spin it off.
Yeah, and then spin it off from there. That's the thing in my head. I have it on my board too. So
well, that's smart to have them connected.
Yeah, it's just the fact that like the people actually want to read it.
Oh yeah, because it's something that people aren't doing. It's something that like it's just something. That type of literature in the urban market is a niche that a lot of people aren't doing, but there's representation. Yeah. So we don't, it's not there. So you have so many people who don't know how to feel about their sexuality, whatever the case may be. And quite frankly, sometimes, I'll be honest, when I read urban literature, when it comes to bisexual sexuality, it's some ratchet type shit. Yeah. It's never this, I'm bisexual, but I'm a loving person. I'm this, I'm that. I usually see it as some girl just doing some whole groupie ratchet stuff. So for somebody to write a book where it's showing two women, one that is out, one that may not know, she knows, but she's kind of there to show a build up of love, that's something total, especially in an urban environment. That's something that we haven't seen. I haven't seen it. So there's a market for it. And there's a niche for it, and if that's on your heart to write, I would write that, because that might be that one book that sets you apart. That's like, okay, this is different, because it is my one book that, in my opinion, that was a game changer for me was Untainted Love. So that sounds like that would be your game changer, and I would wholeheartedly love to read that. And I'm not bisexual or anything, but it's love. Yeah. And and like I said, I've seen, when I wrote Untainted Love, I wrote it because reader asked me to write it. She said, I'm HIV positive. Every time I read an urban literature book, I'm the pariah. I did some dirty stuff. I want to feel love. So I said, let me write you a love story. It's the same situation, I think, with your idea. Somebody needs to know that in urban literature, it's not always some ratchet, crazy, whatever.
Always the threesome.
And that's where I'm saying.
And that's the thing that pissed me off too, because I posted it on my Facebook, and one person was just like, I wouldn't read it if it doesn't have it, because I'm a straight guy. I wouldn't read it if it didn't include the threesome in it.
But that's how a lot of people are seeing stuff. That ratchet part of it. Like, oh, yeah, they bisexual, they a man in the bed, da, 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 da. And I'm like, that's not what that's all about. So for you to come from a different angle to show love, I think that'd be impactful. And it'd give people a voice to say it's not always this. So I think I definitely would like to see that project.
Coming hopefully June-ish. Hopefully by the end of Pride month, if not June, definitely September. Since September is Bi Visibility Month. It's about Bi Visibility Month, and so hopefully around that time for sure. But I want it at least summer, early fall for it to come out. But thank you so much for joining me.
I appreciate it. I have fun.
enjoyed it. I had a great time. Guys, please get all of her books. They are amazing. Definitely get my favorite out of the bunch, The Love Spectrum. My second favorite is Love Touchdown, just because of Liam and how he was just very loving. And you could tell
Mhm.
he is Justin's son. He is Justice's son.
Yes.
Justice was very loving and very understanding. And even though he was a gangster, he was just like, I'm going to love that woman whether she is bipolar or not. And he was,
Right.
oh, that man was amazing. But
Hmm.
all the Washington Christians are
Right.
honestly
Yeah.
definitely amazing. Tell the people where they can find you at and what's
Then you can find me. All of my handles are Author Mel Dau on any social media site. I don't. I wouldn't send you to Twitter because it's a dummy mission. I don't use Twitter. But IG, TikTok, Facebook, Author Mel Dau. I have a website if you want to buy paperbacks, meldausmania.com. And I'm pretty much everywhere.
yeah, I will leave all her links below. Oh, my next question is before we leave. Do you have any projects that you're currently working on now? Or do you want to tell us how many books do you plan to have out for the rest of the year?
I don't know how many books I plan to have out for the rest of the year, but I am tinkering with a paranormal
Ooh,
centered around Valkyries. So yeah.
I'm excited. So yes, but thank you
So
guys.
I'm excited about that because I haven't seen anybody write about that. So I always try to be different.
Totally different. But thank you guys for watching or listening to the Honest Q&A. If you're on YouTube, thank you for being here with Kay the Bookworm. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment. Trying to get to 300 before my birthday, which is April 18th. So please help me out because we're at 256 right now. Please, 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 please. If you're on Apple Music, definitely, Apple Podcast, excuse me, please rate, like, comment, all that jazz. And until next time, guys, have faith, have confidence, love you, always, always be you. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.